is where we make our stand.
Hey guys, I'm on Patreon now. Don't worry, I'm not going to become the guy who sits in front of his camera nervously wringing his hands together and begging for money from his subscribers. For now, I only have one $5 tier, and I'll do my best to make it worthwhile. Patrons will have access to a private Discord server to chat with other subscribers, related channels, and myself. They'll receive an eternal place in my end screens, a free copy of any of the ebooks I've written, and lastly, access to some tutorials on creating a good presentation and honing your creative writing skills. These tutorials aren't actually finished as of yet, but while I'm working on them, I'll instead offer some one-on-one advice via Discord. So if you want to support this channel, please consider becoming a patron or purchasing either some merch or one of my books. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much, and with that, let's get on with today's video. The fight against stupidity and ignorance is entering a new phase. The initial conflicts were bloody and decimating, but really only for one side. The experts rose up, alongside self-taught debunkers, and beat Flat Earth nearly half to death. Every victory went to the globe. No proof of gravity? Sorry, Cavendish. Observation of orbits. And literally no other explanation for why things fall down. No visible curvature? Well, first we explain why they don't understand how goddamn big the Earth is. And then we showed them very slight curvature visible due to anomalies that otherwise cannot be explained. I'd really love for someone to show me the mathematics and the hard science on how atmospheric refraction is causing literally half of the CN Tower to disappear in this blink test. Go right ahead. Please. How about the NASA fakery? Every single one of those claims has been debunked too. What they call glitches, we know as compression artifacts. What they call harness use is literally impossible given the movements astronauts make. When they talk about space bubbles, we laugh, because these alleged bubbles seem to defy all laws of physics. So what's the second phase? Well, it's damage control. Flurfs are attempting to recover from their many losses, and it's not going well. The key to this is the lack of adapting to adversity. Yet another sign that Flat Earth is a mental illness is their fervent holding to things we know to be false. A rational person is able to admit when they are wrong, retract, and rethink their statements. Watch, I'll do it right now. In my video about Israel's Blue Marble, I made several errors in my script. First, I stated that the Beresheet lander belonged to the Israeli Space Agency, but in fact it was owned by a private space company. Second, I stated that the Blue Marble photo was taken from the moon. This was also false. The lander was only about 30,000 miles away from the Earth at the time, and actually later crashed into the moon.
The lander delivers a moment of telemetry telling us it's 2.3 kilometers up, descending at 133 meters per second, and this is the moment. Boom, last piece of telemetry, 149 meters up, 134 meters vertical velocity, 946 meters per second vertical. It was probably about 100 kilometers short of its target, and it is now spread over the moon.
Thankfully, the majority of the information debunking the claims of the Flat Earth brothers was accurate. But I will admit I made the video quickly, and this resulted in some sloppy script writing that contained incorrect information. I could admit this because, again, I am a rational person. Flat Earthers, however, seem to lack this humility and self-awareness. They are unable to admit when they are wrong, even if they are objectively wrong. Even if, by some miracle, they admit a wrong, they disregard it entirely. For instance, the Flat Earth brothers' response to my own video. The very first thing they said was, and I quote, "It most likely wasn't a string that was holding up the Earth in this image." Then they proceeded to explain a list of false reasons why it actually was a string. This is cognitive dissonance. This is a mental defense mechanism at work, psychological gymnastics that turn Flat Earthers into pathological liars. To explain a pathological liar is someone who has set aside the facts so many times that they can no longer actually tell when they're lying or not. Let's take a look at a few more examples. Here's a wonderfully fiery debate that happened between Father Skeptic and our favorite dumpster arsonist, Nathan Thompson.
Okay, there's Nathan.
Welcome.
That's my name. Wear it out.
Chris.
We saw that you've disproved gravity.
I don't need to disprove something that's never been proven. That's like saying I disprove Santa Claus and Bigfoot. You guys are a joke.
What's the law of gravity, Nathan?
It's not a law. It's not even, dude, it's a joke. It's a vain religious superstition. Godless engineer, I would love to hear your scientific proof for gravity. Ready, go.
All right. Please tell me, Nathan, what is the law of gravity according to science?
You give proof of gravity. Now I'm telling you something.
What's the law of gravity according to science, Nathan?
You're gonna give me scientific evidence for this nonsense, Godless. I thought I'm waiting. The entire team.
Nathan, you said that the law of gravity isn't a thing. Please, Nathan, tell me, what is the law of gravity? If you can answer that basic question, I will be happy.
Retard, it's not a law. So you're begging the
Nathan.
question fallacy.
This little bout of anger comes from Nathan's inability to see when he's wrong. When his brain hears the law of gravity, it interprets it as that thing I don't believe in. This allows him to jump past quoting the equation, or at the very least saying, I don't know. Nathan is a pathological liar, and like most pathological liars, he doesn't know it.
They don't separate out. We're on a ball. And gravity is real. They don't separate out.
Go childish with it as much as you want. Go childish with it as much as you want, man. I don't care. You're making me look really good, and I appreciate that.
This is why the strategy of the newer generation of Flurf debunkers, like myself, Anti-Flatter, Logical Troglodyte, and all those other wonderful shills, has completely changed. Flurfs always comment on my videos and ask why I'm not constantly proving the globe all the time in every video. That's because this was the job of the last wave of debunkers. They've already proven the globe, and this is all without mentioning the last 2,000 years of history. My job, on the other hand, is to analyze and rip apart what little is left of the flat Earth and seek out new claims. Problem is, that second part hasn't happened yet. We're getting impatient, Flurfs. We know you need attention. It's another symptom of your illness. But you haven't given us anything to chew on. This is why you're pure comedy to us now. Which reminds me, I'm going to take this opportunity to make an open casting call. I am itching to have another debate with a Flurf, since my first one was an absolute catastrophe.
What happened to your Canadian manners? Aren't you sorry?
Listen to you.
Listen to you. Oh, yeah, we're offended. Oh, listen to you.
Your panties are all twisted around.
This show.
No, you're sitting here going, next, like a f***ing bird. You
f***ing destroyed you. Next.
You didn't do shit. Oh,
they
yeah,
photoshopped.
No, I know about that. I know about that. I can explain that as well, folks. Would you like me to explain that?
Yeah, yes, folks,
yeah,
explain it.
It's very simple.
Your whopping audience of 10, folks.
Shut
your
up.
Whopping audience of 10. Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to your audience, asshole.
I want one of my trolls to step up to the plate. We can do this over Discord, or Skype, or shouting loudly on a busy street. I don't care. I want one of you cowards to defend your ridiculous beliefs, because honestly, the Keyboard Warrior Act is so old and so lame. More confirmation of this lack of self-awareness comes in the form of Behind the Curve. As you're all probably aware, in this documentary, Bob Nodell was caught attempting to hide and skew the results of a laser gyroscope test. He was unable to stop the gyroscope from registering a 15-degree-per-hour shift, caused, of course, by the Earth's rotation. In addition, Jaronism did a line-of-sight test involving wooden boards with a hole in them. Jaron proposed that if the Earth was flat, he would see the light on the other side if his friend held it at 17 feet above sea level. What resulted is one of the most famous video clips in this whole community.
If he's holding it up at 23 feet high and we're seeing the light, well, that's because the Earth's curved. So I should only be able to see it when it's at 17 feet. Okay, go ahead and drive down there, Enrique. You're going to hold the light there. Enrique, how high is your light?
17 feet.
I mean, it's as, we don't see you, Enrique. Lift up your light way above your head. Interesting. Interesting there. That's interesting.
Here, we can actually see the mental defense mechanisms at work as Jaron says that's interesting. You can damn near see the gears in his head turning to try and figure out an excuse for his results. Of course, This is exactly what he did. He wrote it off as excuses. And the most amazing thing is, the rest of the Flurf community wrote him off as controlled opposition. This actively defies Occam's razor. There are so many assumptions to conclude that Jaren was a double agent all along, and they have never even once considered that he's actually just a prime example of every major flat earther. They're all just in it for profit. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it is definitely a sign of some mental issue if you can conclude that billions of people were brainwashed, but can never even consider that you yourself have been. To sum up, the lack of adaptation from the Flat Earth movement is indicative of his status as a mental illness. Part of the scientific method is re-evaluation. If you perform experiments and they do not comport with reality, or they are proven wrong through counter-arguments or cross-examination, you must go back to the drawing board. That's how this works. Clinging to already debunked beliefs is the sign of a zealot. It's the sign of someone with a serious mental condition that won't allow them to see the error of their ways. Science is fallible, Flat Earth is not. Do you guys see the problem yet? If you like this video, please give it a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe to my channel, which is Dead Kennedy in Space. If you want to support me further, consider donating on Patreon or purchasing some of my work through Amazon or Teespring. Thank you, and I'll see you over the curve, Space Cowboys.
Live there, on the mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam, in a vast cosmic arena.